So I've been trying to lead interviews by saying, if you were me, what would you want me to be asking you right now?
If I were you, what would I want you to ask me?
Yeah.
Well, I know that most white people ask me the big question, so what should I do? What can I do to help black people, right?
That's one of them.
Right. You know, I can't think of anything more important than what your role would be to help me, I think. So that's what I would ask if I were you. Yeah. What would you, how can you help me the most as as a white person?
Personally, I felt like the biggest impact that I can have is to try to amplify people of color's voices, get people's voices out there online.
You know, I think that's an excellent idea because you should do what you can do, right? What your talent is, what your profession is, whatever you can do, I think that's the thing you should do and focus on that thing because everyone can't do everything, right? Some people march, some people do legislation, some people, do whatever, but if you have a media talent and you have that outlet and you have access to that information and that kind of a platform, I say go for it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
So what's your thing? What do you do?
I work with homeless people.
Oh, wow.
I get homeless people housed.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I work for Solid Ground.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's something that's really needed in Seattle.
Yeah, it is. And
really?
Well, yeah, housing is needed in Seattle. I mean, not more homeless people, unfortunately. We don't need any more of that.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely need low-income housing, not affordable housing. There's a big difference between the two, right? Affordable housing is unaffordable. And the reason why it is because King County and Seattle, they go off the area median income. Well, the area median income for Seattle is $90,000 a year. So if you make $89,000 a year, you're considered not low income, but you're considered in that area where you're not like in the upper income of this of this county. I can't really explain it, but the AMI, the area median income, is skewed because of employers like Microsoft and Boeing and Amazon, where they have the average income for their employees is so high that it skews that AMI way up. Like, for example, in somewhere like Ohio or Dallas, their area median income is around $45,000 a year, as opposed to $90,000 in Seattle.
A lot more affordable.
Definitely. Yeah. Not going to mention any names as far as, people in the city council or in the mayor's office, but I would say that their priorities probably need to be a little bit adjusted, I think, in that area. As far as the real estate and building more what they call affordable housing, because that's what's in the CD now is affordable housing, but it's not affordable. That's why it's being gentrified. Yeah.
So since you have all of this experience with working with the homeless, what would you say to viewers out there that want to try to help, eradicate that issue?
Homeless people need housing.
Yeah.
Period.
Obviously.
Build more housing. That is the only answer.
Or maybe a better question would be, how do you convince people who are against it to not be against it? The number one argument I've heard against it is, it's like a NIMBY argument, like not in my backyard kind of thing. Or like, don't affect my property values, or what kind of people are you bringing into these areas by creating, how do you combat those arguments?
It's not really combating the argument. It's really about getting politicians to change their priority, right? I mean, the priority, in Seattle, this is a beautiful place to live, and it attracts a lot of people from all over the world, right? And there's a reason for that. It's because we have beautiful landscapes, we have beautiful suburbs, we have rules where you can't have mother-in-law units in suburban areas. These are all reasons why people like to live here. And the people who like that are mostly middle class and upper middle class people. Now, when you get the infusion of Microsoft and Amazon people to areas like this also becomes unaffordable. Capitol Hill was once a very cool place to live and very affordable. Over the last 10, 15 years, not so much anymore. So recently, the King County government created this new governing authority called the King County Homeless Regional Authority, right? And this is a whole new government entity. If you know about the all-home homeless system, that was a system that was created back when George Bush told us in 2006 to have a 10-year plan. He told every single state in the union to have a 10-year plan, right? Well, 10 years went by and our homeless population increased by, exponentially, right? There was more, and this is after we applied this plan. So now, since that didn't work, there's a new government authority that's been created, and it's called the King County Homeless Regional Authority. Now, I've been selected as someone with lived homeless experience on that board. And so the board is made up of Jenny Durkin, Dow Constantine, Lorena Gonzalez, the mayor of Auburn, the mayor of Kirkland, other city council members, other executives, and we are currently trying to do this again and do it right this time. But now we're trying to make sure that we try and have a work through a lens of inclusion and racial equity, so that marginalized populations, Black and brown people, aren't kind of left out of the equation this time, because we found that a lot of the housing was going to white Caucasians, right, instead of blacks that were disproportionately affected by all these reasons that cause people to become homeless. And they made up a larger percentage of homeless folks, but a larger percentage of white folks were getting housed.
Why was that happening?
We don't know for sure. Now, I work for Solid Ground. We have a contract with an organization called the King County Coordinated Entry for All program. It's the biggest and most robust housing program in Washington. And that program, we found through studies that more Black and brown people were getting into the system, being enrolled, but more Caucasians were being housed through that system. So it's the same thing, and that's the biggest homeless program we have in Washington, right? So based on that, and not just that, but just a kind of a failure of the entire system is what caused us to create the new King County Homeless Regional Authority. And so we're having meetings. We're trying to populate a implementation board, trying to find a CEO, trying to get these things done. And it's really some heavy lifting right now. Right now we're doing a lot of back office work, back end work to get our processes down. But the main thing that I'm there for, and two others like myself, is to make sure that we represent the voice of homeless people on this board. And we have like full voting authority. They can't fire us. They can't get rid of us. I have just as much power as Jenny Durkin on this board, or Dow Constantine. Yeah, so this is amazing. I didn't think I'd get selected, but I applied for it and went through an interview process, and here I am. So I'm kind of the newbie. I mean, I haven't breathed that air before in my life, right? And so I'm at these meetings. I'm so nervous.
Don't let
but
them corrupt you.
Yeah, right. I know. Get co-opted, right? I'm not going to be a co-op. Hopefully, I'm going to co-opt them. Yeah. So that's what's going on in my life. That's what I'm about right now. And my whole objective and mission in life right now is to make sure that this new government entity moves forward with a lens of racial equity and inclusion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. That's really great. Is there anything else that you would like to say to people?
I would like to make a comment about police brutality.
Okay.
Yeah. I am for reducing the police budget. I'm not for getting rid of the whole police force. That wouldn't be useful, but I think there are ways that we could reallocate those funds that in the police budget to social programs that can address social issues better than the police officer could. I mean, I think it's just like with these protests and marches. When you get a police force and when you insert them into a situation, automatically the violent aspect of it and the explosive aspect of it is just right there. It's like a powder keg. Exactly. Right. Exactly. I mean, that should be like a model that everyone should go by. It's pretty easy to see. Police, tear gas, violence. No police, peace. That's a pretty easy equation.
Well, let me ask you this: what would you say to somebody who says, "Oh, sure, send in the social worker, but what happens when it gets violent and the social worker gets killed?"
Sure. Good question. I was listening to a show, a report on NPR just last week. There's a company in Portland that has been doing just that for the last 20 years.
Interesting. Where?
In Portland, Oregon.
Oh, Portland.
Yeah, Portland, Oregon. And they have a program where they do just that. They send in a caseworker in lieu of a police officer, and they have had great success.
That's amazing.
Great success. I think out of something like, I think the woman said she had seen something like 5,000 people, and maybe 10 of them ended up having to call the police, right? Out of 5,000 cases, 10 people, right? So that's like so much money that you save, their budget. so many lives that are saved, so much police brutality that didn't happen, right? So many deaths that didn't occur because of this. I think Seattle should do the same thing.
Just wanted to say thank you so much for talking to us, and we hope that you can continue to make a big difference in people's lives and get as many people off the street and rehabilitated as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, I'm working with a good group of people in the mayor and Dow Constantine and the other council members. We're going to do our best to revamp this whole homeless system and try and make it work right for all people.
That's what's up. All right, keep holding elbow.
All right. Take care. Thanks a lot, guys.